I say, you've been running because of what man told you. But that's not what God told you.
And that's the only thing that matters is what God told you.
But you got to go through that healing to know that.
You do.
Because I think we're programmed and conditioned while we're young. So that's what's embedded in us. So as we become adults, it comes out. What goes in, got to come out.
Welcome to the Heart Helper Podcast, a spiritual space where we share extraordinary stories from everyday, ordinary people, because we truly believe that inspiration is far greater than influence. Hello. Welcome back, guys. I am your host, Jody Smith, and we are on season 2 of the Heart Helper Podcast, and it has been a beautiful journey. It's been a blessed journey, and I am super excited because today I have a woman that is beyond inspiring. I met her on a professional level outside of my podcast. I met her professionally, and we got to talking, y'all, and we talked for hours about God. And as you guys know, that's very, very, very important to me. I have today Miss Leshawn Fernandez. She is a agency owner. She's an insurance expert, and she is a TikTok superstar. Welcome to the Heart Helper Podcast.
Thank you. Hey, y'all. Hey.
So blessed to have you because I wish you guys could feel her energy. She's just such a being of light. And I know the people that hear your story today, you're already helping people on TikTok. So now you're going to help the listeners of the Heart Helper Podcast. So just to get started, how did you go viral on TikTok? How did that happen?
Well, it happened by accident, y'all. Let's just say God is very clever. Back in 2021, I was going through a horrible point in my life, going through a divorce. So my therapist at the time asked me to find something that I can utilize as a scapegoat. She was actually, at first she recommended it's some kind of art paint you can do. Well, for me, that was kind of boring.
Was a no.
That wasn't for me. So I said, I think I want to dance. So I literally one day just went out there. My first video I did was She a Runner. And me and a play sister, we just had a good time. Because, of course, I was shy, y'all. Can y'all tell? Back then.
Not at all.
To do it by myself. But let's just say it was therapy for me at the time, and I didn't even realize it. I was in my own zone. I was just comfortable just being me. So I decided back then, I started out that one weekend, and then I just decided to just kind of do it a little bit more, but I was already utilizing TikTok to actually encourage myself with quotes of the day, and I would put day 1. I think I got all the way to day 365 or 3.
The whole year? You made it to a year?
Might have been 370. It was a little over a year. And by then, I had them went through enough to help me without particularly seeing that quote. But it was one day I put a quote on there, and I had over 11,000 likes. And I was just like, wow, this is serious. This is huge. When I was doing it, thinking I was doing it to help myself, I was helping others. And really, in all reality, I was helping the world because I had people start coming in from all over the world saying how inspiring it was for them and how it helped them get through some challenges at that time. And then after that, it maybe about 7 months after getting started, God led me to start a group on TikTok. And it literally was 3 of us. It's over 300 of us now that's on this spiritual healing journey where now I'm not able to sit there consistently, but every Sunday, my daughter, actually I call her my camera lady, she literally record a 10-minute session to help myself and my people get through the week. of whatever. And even I do weekly sessions of where they put questions and I answer those questions and help people get through. And just, it's all about love and light. That's all it is.
That's
And
it.
when we understand that concept, that's what the world needs, love. And at the end of the day, God is nothing but light. We have to learn balance. Yeah. We already know we're in a world of darkness, but it's balance, love and light.
Yeah. And that's what we're all about here at the Heart Helper Podcast. We want to spread positive content,
yes,
pure content. And not only do we want people to reach the highest version of themselves, but we want people to connect back with God.
Yes.
So you mentioned that you started making these videos to help yourself,
yes,
right? And you ended up helping other people.
Yes.
And I do believe that when you share your story and you share your truth, that's how you connect with other people. So what were you going through during that time where you were trying to help yourself and you ended up helping other people?
I was going through a divorce, and at that particular time I looked at myself as a failure because this was my second failed marriage in my mind.
Yeah.
However, you know, the first one, I didn't even go to God at all.
You didn't ask God?
I did not ask God. I was 30, wanted to be married. I was already stable, just wanted to be married.
You wanted to be married.
So I did it Sean way.
Yeah.
Sean way wasn't the right way because it didn't last no time. My second marriage, I did go to God, but God didn't give me an answer. So to me, okay, God, so you didn't answer, so you're telling me it's okay. So,
wow.
Okay. So,
wow.
And of course, everything didn't go downhill. I'm not going to make it seem like it went down here all at once. It was some years, and I think just comfortability of just allowing situation. And truly, you look at me today, and yes, I'm confident. I'm in my authentic, true self. Yes. That wasn't me. I had to heal. I went through a lot. I went through a lot as a child. I went through things that I would not want to see no child ever go through, nor adult. So I was broken, and I was this person that felt like I could love my husband to do right by me. I could love him to heal, but I wasn't healed.
Do you feel like you loved them more than you loved yourself?
Because I didn't love myself, because I blamed the little girl that got hurt and went through all that she went through. So at the end of the day, I set her down. And instead of healing her so I can love all of me, instead of half of me, I was really half loving everybody.
Yeah.
You know,
because you weren't full.
I wasn't full. I was a full cup that became empty because I'm pointing to everybody else and nobody pointing to me.
Come on now. Ain't that how it go?
I was a walking Duracell battery that was drained.
Wow.
So at the end of the day, when they say, you know, people will suck the life out of you. They're like
they
vampires.
Literally will.
It's true.
Yeah.
I'm living proof. I was always drained. I never took time out for myself. I never had me time. I never had dates with myself. I would never be alone by myself. Now, I do it all.
You enjoy your own company.
I enjoy my own company. I take myself out. I love on me. I remember there was a time I wouldn't even listen to love.
And your earrings say love.
Well, God told me I was the love queen. So I walk around most of the time. You see me.
And you're on the Heart Helper. So it's a perfect connection.
Yes. So now I'm just loving the true, authentic Leshawn Fernandez now.
Amen to that. And I feel like divorce sometimes, it's not only romantic relationships. Sometimes you could literally go through a divorce with a friendship. And most recently with myself, I'm noticing I'm divorcing who I used to be. So you said off of camera, we were talking off of camera, y'all, because it was good. But you said the old you knew you. So is that what you said?
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're absolutely correct. For me, this spiritual healing journey has been hard.
Yeah.
And it's been hard because I knew the old me. I was comfortable in the old me. I thought that was on the way. I thought toxicity was it.
That's all you knew.
That's all I knew. That was my familiarity.
It was normal.
The norm for me.
It was normal.
So whatever normal to people is what it is. So I was hurt, broken. All I did was hurt people, and
hurt people. Yeah.
So until I sat down and healed and loved me wholeheartedly, I could love nobody else. I couldn't even pour. See, I had the right concept of what my purpose was, what God really wanted me to do is give love and spread love. But it was for the people, the world, the ones that wanted to receive it. It was not for me to sit there and pick a mate and think that's who all I was supposed to pour in and think, you can't make a person change.
Yeah.
They have to want to change, and they have to know who they are and want to be that person themselves.
Yeah. And you can't love a person into loving you.
No. And I had to learn that.
Yeah.
Everything, all I am today is because I had to learn that. I actually have that motto, I'm a new creature.
Yeah.
I'm no longer the old me. She's gone. I pretty much divorced her, came into union with my true, authentic self. I'm standing in my power now because I love all of me now.
Yeah.
So now I can love, I'm blessed because God sent me a boyfriend. Once I heal, he had to prepare me to receive the true, genuine love that he gives, because I was like, this is a fairy tale. This is what I seen on TV. I knew when I was a little girl. I remember I was 8, where I came from in New Orleans, Louisiana. Shootouts every day. Wow. I just knew, and I always told myself, I know I'm going to get better. And I knew one day God was going to send me my Prince Charm.
He's behind the camera. Y'all can't see him. But
I didn't know when. I didn't know how. My biggest supporter.
Yeah.
And notice I say boyfriend supports me. I was married twice. Never had
that support.
A praying man. I was always the prayer. Never had come and support me. He has his own business.
Yeah.
But he took the time out
to support you.
To support me, and actually taking pictures so I can do what I do with encourage the world, put my social posts on social media. So I wouldn't been able to receive this
at all
if I hadn't healed, because I wasn't used to this. So the new me had to realize, you deserve this.
Yeah.
You went through every challenge, every obstacle of when the opponent kept trying to stop you from healing.
Yeah.
Even tried to take me out at the very end. But I knew it was bigger than me. It's not even about me. It's about God.
That's it.
That's all it's about now.
That's all. And I love that you mentioned divorcing yourself, because in order to really connect with God and really be able to hear God's voice, you literally have to divorce yourself.
Absolutely.
Like I'm unrecognizable to myself in this season. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you don't drink? Oh, I don't listen to that type of music anymore. And it is scary transitioning into a life where you completely let God lead you.
Correct.
You completely let God lead you. And I love that you mentioned that you couldn't receive the love that you're receiving now if you hadn't healed.
Correct.
If you hadn't healed, Because how could you recognize something in someone else that you don't recognize in yourself?
Absolutely correct. And that's why I was attracting the same person, different name, different body, different shape, but same person.
Because it was the frequency that you were giving on.
Absolutely.
It's that frequency that you were giving off. And I've been in there before too. I'm like, gosh, I'm such a nice person. I feel like I'm doing good. I think I'm doing good, but I wasn't healed.
Correct.
So I kept attracting that same person over and over and over and over and over again. But now I feel like it's my season where I'm attracting differently.
Absolutely.
My friends are different. The people that I engage with on a daily basis is different. The music I listen to is different.
Absolutely.
And I remember being in college. There was this girl. She was I wish I knew where she was now, but I had rode back with her from FAMU. She was going to Jacksonville. I was like, oh, can I get a ride with you? At that time, I used to smoke Newports. I used to smoke cigarettes. I was like, oh, do you mind if I smoke in your car? She's like, no. I was like, And she listened to gospel the whole way. And she was like, Jody, when God changes you, you're not going to want to dress the way that you dress. She's like, you're not going to want to smoke cigarettes. You're not going to want to drink. And at that time, I was maybe 21. I'm like, this girl is crazy. She's absolutely crazy. And now I notice myself, I don't drink, I don't smoke. I'm like, ooh, let me not wear that. That's not, because now I recognize who I am in God.
That's right. That's right.
I'm who I am in God. But someone that is trying to get to the space that you're in, because even your energy, you just have a light around you. Your energy feels warm, it feels welcoming. Like I feel like I could just lay on your lap and just tell you my life story. But for someone that might be watching this, listening to this, how do you get to that space where you could strengthen your relationship with God? What do those steps look like?
The first step is really releasing, letting go. But the biggest step is you have to want to just let yourself be free to God. Let go. This is not your battle. Nothing you go through was to just hurt you purposely.
To help you.
Everything is to help us. It's a lesson out of everything, no matter how you look at it. I can promise you, it's been 2+ years. I haven't suffered with depression. I was a person went through. Oh yes,
glory to God. Yeah, I don't want to breeze over that, because there's so many people that are going through depression.
A lot of people on my post. Yeah. That's what they deal with, and I realized that my story is helping them, because nobody knew. Not even my ex-husband, not my kids knew. They would leave. And that's, I just fortunately have a business where I was able to get by with it.
Yeah, I will touch on that too.
Yeah, where I was able to get by with it, where I'm home in darkness. All I had was the hem of God's garment that I could just hold on to. I didn't want to even exist and reside in this world. I'm being very transparent, because it was that bad.
Wow. Were you suicidal? I'm like, you're making me, this is so good.
I was suicidal, but I was trusting God, because I had babies. They not babies, they my babies.
Yeah, they'll always be your baby.
They're going to always be my babies. I had to fight through it for them. But I didn't want to. I was tired of the hurt. Because when you were a child, I lost my birth mama at 5. And I don't want to get too deep.
So we want to get deep. So you never really had a relationship with your birth mom?
No, not after 5. And the foster home I went through. Horrible.
I could only imagine.
Don't know why they put me there, but God kept me.
God did, yeah.
To the adoption home.
So you were adopted when your dad wasn't present in your life?
My dad, he from what I was told, he had a past, so he couldn't, at that time back in the 70s, if you had a past, you couldn't get your kids.
Really?
That's what I was told. I don't even know if my dad's still living. By me being adopted, my adopted mom locked everything. I fought tooth and nail. When I turned 18, I tried till I was 21. I gave up looking for my family, because I said it's no use.
Yeah.
It was hard. I was emancipated at 16, left home at 15, because I just couldn't do it no more.
Wow. In that home, you didn't like the environment?
My mom was horrible.
Really?
Although she was my inspiration to how I got in my industry, I know it was God using her as a vessel. But at the end of the day, what I went through, nobody should have went through. So that's why even as a mother, I think I was overprotective with my kids.
Because of what you experienced.
Because of what I experienced. And I made a promise and a vow to myself, nobody will ever hurt my kids if I have something to do with it. So, I never was one waddle in my mess, but I never understood why I went through so much until I went through the healing and God pulled me through. But the biggest blessing for me that was the hardest to get through was depression. Because people don't take depression so seriously, even in the insurance world.
Yeah. And in our community as well.
Right. Yeah. And they put a stigma on it, like you're crazy.
Yep.
But at the same time, you don't know what people been through and how people feeling inside. That's why you have people go to drugs and alcohol, or they just become sex addicts because they're hurt.
And they're looking for an outlet.
They're looking for an outlet. It's a comfort.
Yeah.
Instead of let's fix the problem. Let's not, because I remember before talking to my psychiatrist when it started back in 2021. oh, if you went to a psychiatrist in the Black community, you
They
crazy.
thought you were crazy, yeah.
You're crazy.
There's such a negative stigma.
A very negative. But I think if I would have had that help back then, I wouldn't have been. I mean, when I tell you, if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be on this green earth today. I just kept trusting God. Because it wasn't getting no better. And then at the end in my mind, oh God, that was horrible.
Really?
Horrible.
And were you, during this time, were you like praying every day? Were you going to church?
I had to pray. God brought me to a church home in January 2022. I joined this church home. Mm-hmm. A friend of mine, she had been gone for years. I would go with her here and there. But I couldn't really grasp God in the church like I wanted to, because my ex-husband was negative in my ear about the church, about God, just about everything.
So you were hearing everyone else's voice at that time.
Everybody else's voice but God, because it was it's almost like I was confused. So I was all over the place.
Yeah.
Even my relationship with God was just dwindling. It was just, but I still held on. Because I said, God, I know if anything else, you say you'll never leave me, nor you'll forsake me. So I need you to help me. Get me out of this situation. If you get me out of this situation,
please, God,
I promise you, I will never leave you again. And wherever you need me to go, send me, use me.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand for you now and not for man. And it was at that time, God was like, I'm going to work it out now.
Yeah.
And even when
you surrendered.
I surrendered. But even when I remember going back and forth with God with the platform, God, I would talk. He reminded me. And I said, God, I'm going to stand bold for you. And see, God knew I was one. Because even before I started my healing, I didn't care what others thought of me, even though it hurted me.
Yeah.
I didn't care to a point where I would be quiet 100%. Now I'm not quiet, no percent.
At all.
But at that particular time, if, my ex, don't say that, don't do this, don't talk about God. But that's not what God wanted. But now, even when, I have other people come and try to stop me, I rebuke them and keep moving. Because it's not about them. And it's not about me.
It's about God.
It's about God. Once I had people come back and message me that what I do help them. And the biggest thing was recently, I was in, I don't know if it was Las Vegas or Missouri. The young ladies came on. She said, I just want to thank you. And she didn't put it in private message like some people do. She put it where you could see it publicly. She said, I suffer with depression, which brought tears to my eyes because I know what it's like.
Yeah, it hurts.
What you do helps me. And she's not the first, and she's not going to be the last. But that's what it's about, because when you down and out, and people always got a negative stigma, even on people that commit suicide.
Yeah.
One, I don't judge nobody, because you never know what people are going through. That hurt is real.
Yeah, it is.
And that's what, unless you going through that pain, you can't tell me and nobody else nothing.
Exactly.
So even to say that it's a selfish move that they take,
yeah,
you don't know how broken they was. They gave up on that last little bit of hope that they were holding on to. So when it comes to helping others, I'm passionate about it, because I know what it's like not to have nobody. But the biggest thing, I know what it's like not to have love. Yeah. And the one thing God gave us all was love. He put his only begotten son to walk on this earth to be plain example. Every 12 disciples had their own wrongdoing. He don't call the righteous. He called sinners.
Yeah.
So I had to realize, I ain't got to be perfect, God.
At all. And he'll
I
still use you.
I was a mess. And I tell people, if God called me and changed and delivered me,
he could use you.
He can do the same for anybody. We have to understand, Nobody is bigger than the next person. Stop looking down on people, because the only one that could look down on anybody was Jesus Christ. And if he don't do that.
He don't even look down on people.
I tell people, stop being judgmental.
Yeah.
That's when you're hypocritical, because you can't judge nobody.
Only God could judge.
Only God.
Oh, and there was a verse in the Bible, and I think it was Paul, and he was like, I don't even trust my own judgment.
Thank you.
Because I'm not always sound. I don't even trust my own judgment. But I love that you had the courage to share your story, because in the times that we live in, no one wants to share their truth. And this week in my women's study, we were studying Jeremiah, and Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, says the Lord. They are plans for good and not disaster, to give you a future and a hope." And when I read that, I got so emotional, because I was like, sometimes you go through things.
Yes.
And you don't understand why you're going through it. And it's just like, oh my God, woe is me. Why is this happening to me? I hate that I'm in this situation. And then God's like, I will never hurt you.
That's right.
It's literally character development. Even Job lost everything. Next to Solomon, Job was one of the richest men in the Bible, lost everything, his wife, his kids, his house, his money. And even God gave the devil permission. The devil can't even do nothing to you unless God allows it. Right. And everything that we go through builds such character. But for you to have the courage to share your story, and people that only want to show everything that's pretty, that took a lot out of you. That was like...
It did.
That's why you're touching so many lives.
It took a whole lot, because one, honestly, I didn't deal with the sexual abuse until 2022.
And was this from foster care?
That was from foster care. I couldn't deal with that because I was 5. I was a baby. And that was 7 people.
Oh my God.
The grown man and 6 teenage boys. And I was upset with the woman, because why would you leave a female 5 years old with teenage boys and your husband?
Oh my God.
So that one I kept buried for a long, long time. I couldn't deal with it.
How do you heal that?
I had to sit down with God Himself. God had to have me in isolation, to be honest. I never was one, and I realized why I never wanted to be alone. Because I didn't want to be true to myself.
You didn't want to face those thoughts.
I didn't want to. That feeling. 5. I was a baby.
A baby.
And
I couldn't imagine that.
For me, that was deep. And it was deep because she would never let me go with her family. Her sister had a daughter. And I always wanted to go there. I think I wanted to go more because I was free.
Yeah.
And I always remember telling myself, I couldn't defend myself at 5.
You couldn't?
But now, I could defend myself.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest reason I was so overprotective of my girls, because God blessed me with 3 girls.
With reason, though, because at 5, you shouldn't, for one, have to protect yourself.
And it went on for the full 2 years I was there. But then I go into adoptive home. It happened a couple times, but not many. I was a teenager then, but the biggest thing happened there was the mental and physical abuse.
Yeah.
You know, to be burned, to be cut, to be just... That was torture in itself.
Did they ever get, convicted? Did you ever speak on it? So are they still alive now?
I don't know about the foster parents.
Yeah.
My mother's not, no. And I never brought it to the light as far as saying anything. I went through, because like I said, I suppressed it.
Yeah.
I thought I was healed from it until after the divorce. I really realized that I didn't never heal.
None of it.
Trauma. I was 15, young mother, 16, when I had her on my own, but I was emancipated. It was hard.
Yeah.
But God, one thing I can say, God never allowed me to be in a situation where I was homeless. You know.
Thank God.
It was all God. Because
literally.
at the end of the day, even 15, you're still a baby. 16, you're emancipated. But all
That's
I
still
want,
young, though.
I'm still young.
Yeah.
And I had a friend. I was 15. He was 30 something. It wasn't his fault because he really didn't know my age because I you have a 5-year-old, you doing something with that 5. By the time you become a teenager, you look, like you
older. Yeah.
Now I'm told there's no way you'll be 50 in July. One guy told me the other day, no, you in your 30s, because he was butchering more kids on me. I was like,
I'm done having kids, sir.
I'm like, sir, no. He like, but you only 30. Oh, thank you. You made my day. But I'll be 50 in July. His mouth dropped like.
You don't look like what you've been through.
But that's all God. Because there was one time I looked like everything I've
been
through.
Really? Wow.
What? But when you totally surrender to God and truly heal, that youthful self come back, because now you're not walking around with all this burden. So you aging before your time.
Yeah.
You can't be that fortune of youth that they said, well, black don't crack.
Because you're carrying so much baggage.
Because you got baggage, nothing but baggage. And as I start taking out the trash, just taking it all out, letting it go. And I remember promising myself December 31st, 2021, I was just like, pressure, because I'm about to take all the trash out.
Yeah.
Little did I know I was getting ready to fully transform by releasing everything, because it started from the child. Healing her all the way up to the teenage, to the adult. Because, I didn't have no guidance. So at the end of the day, everything I learned from myself or from the homeboys that taught me back home.
Wow. And when you said that you brought back up that childhood trauma, was that something that you learned to do from therapy? Was your therapist kind of like, hey, what happened? Sometimes like, well, what happened in your past?
I'm going to tell you what really made me heal. And my boyfriend don't even know. Having someone so special, and I was fighting that demon of the little girl. I didn't want to deal with that. And the more I kept that bottle in, I saw, he had the patient of Job. Because me, and in the beginning, I was the firecracker because I was so hurt.
Yeah. So you were carrying it with you.
I was carrying it with me. And I remember my pastor, one of the associate pastors at church during that year, literally, she was talking about, because she went through it. And when she shared her story and talking about how she just had to release and let go and give it to God, I said, God, I think I'm ready now. And I sat down. That's where all the true healing start forming, because that was the biggest hurt for me, because I carried that around, because to me that's a baby.
Yeah.
So once I start healing her, everything else start unfolding in place, because the healing could truly start taking place.
Yeah. And surrendering is such a big thing. Like, I'm realizing now that I'm studying my word, going to church in a women's group, I'm like, ooh, I was a lukewarm Christian.
I was too.
Oh, I was lukewarm. And now that I'm hot, I was like, oh my God, I was so lukewarm. I'm so shamed.
And I went through the shame moment. I went to the unworthiness, because I felt like I didn't deserve him. I felt unworthy.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't deserve nobody like him. And of course, I'm not saying it like, oh, he's just 100% perfect. Yeah. What I'm saying, the way he loved, that genuine love, and to just be supportive and just pour into me and be there.
You've never had this before.
I never had that.
Yeah.
So I think I was trying to run and sabotage it, because I didn't feel worthy of it.
Self-sabotage is such a big thing. Right. If you haven't experienced something, it's an unfamiliar territory. Correct. So, when people are like, oh, I don't know what to do with my hands. You don't know what to do with that type of love when it comes to you, because you never had it.
You never had it, and it to be genuine, and you just like you're not on pins and needles, because I hadn't been on pins and needles, my God, since that last marriage. But I just was like, how long this gonna last? Opening the doors for me, just kissing and praying for me, and just.
Did you think it was like an act?
I did.
Okay.
And he probably thought,
because I was asking that because I'm like, I would think that too. I'm like, I've thought that.
I thought it was a true act, and I was used to men doing a lot in the beginning, and it didn't last. The mask fell off. So for me, I was like, let's just see how long this gonna go on. And then I think the more I seen him being him, the more I became more hurt and saying things and putting little text, knowing it's go tee him off, because a person when they text, it's not gonna come, because when you put a text, it can be perceived in so many
However
different
way,
ways.
yeah. That's why sometimes it's best to actually just
call. But the healing was just needed, because I just was doing the most. But the most came from being hurt and just didn't want, because I knew in my mind, I was saying, oh, at any point he gonna hurt me like all the others did. It's just when it's gonna come.
Because that's what you were used to from foster care, from adoption to your mom. You've experienced a lot of hurt. But just that surrender part, I think you allowed God to move the piece. You allowed God to drive the vehicle instead. Yeah, I always say now, I don't want to drive the car.
Right.
You can put a blindfold on me, God,
me now.
and just take me to wherever it is you want to go. I want you to order my words, even order what I see, order what I hear, order every area of my life. And this week, also still in Jeremiah, but Jeremiah 29:13 says, if you look for me wholeheartedly, you will find me.
Absolutely.
And when I looked up the word wholeheartedly, it was committed. And that's why I said that when I was a lukewarm Christian, I would read it. I'm like, I'm not looking up them words. I'm like, okay, whatever. I read the word today. But actually analyzing it and spending time with God, I'm excited to spend time with God now.
And that's where I'm at. I get excited.
Yeah.
I mean, I can be anywhere, and I'm praising God. Even on a plane.
Yeah.
I don't care how
in the
people
car,
look at me.
Putting on a gospel concert.
I have my moments with God. 'Cause I'm so grateful. I'm so humble, and I'm so appreciative. Even like with my boyfriend now. When I tell people all the time, there's no way I'm gonna trade a king in for a joker now.
No, because keep the joker. We don't want
because at the end of the day, when you've been through so many jokers, and God finally give you a king, why you go throw that away? That's a diamond.
Yeah,
that's a rare jewel that's not out here to be found. Like talking about it.
Yeah,
So I look at blessings differently now. That's a blessing.
That is
my
a blessing.
My kids a blessing. To wake up every day and be in my right state of mind.
A blessing.
Just gained a client last week, 45 years old, just diagnosed with Alzheimer's. I mean,
at 45. Wow.
That is young.
Wow.
So I'm just like, it's the small things I look at now
as a blessing.
That's just a blessing, because with so much going on in society, I would never hear a person 45. I have heard of it, but I never experienced and had a client. Her sister is the one I'm doing everything with, because she's the power of attorney now.
Wow.
I mean, 45.
And stuff like that's why I think it's so important to hear stories like that, because it is a blessing. A blessing doesn't have to be a car. It doesn't have to be jewelry.
That's right.
It doesn't have to be a marriage. A blessing could be you blinking your eyes. And I'm starting to notice now, I'm like, God, thank you for saving me.
Amen.
I'm thankful that God did not harden my heart.
And that's the biggest thing.
I'm like, what if God would have just been like, I'm sick of her?
And not even that. Every time I think about all I heard I went through, I said, God, how was I able to still love?
How? Yeah.
And I ain't never had it until now.
Yeah.
Now, yes, for my kids, because I asked God, over 34 years ago when I had my first, to help me love, because I never had it. But for me to love my boyfriend now, I had to learn to love me and learn to love, because I was like, I thought I was loving. I said, that wasn't love. I just was doing what I thought was the norm.
Yeah.
The way you was talked to, you talk to people like that, and you think that's love. That's not love.
That's not love. It's all even with parenting. Now it's such a big thing to do gentle parenting, and I have a 10-year-old, and I'm like, gosh, let me be mindful of how I speak to him.
Right.
Because I don't want him to have childhood trauma.
Yes.
And I know my mom's going to hate I say this, but I come from a parent, my parents are Jamaican. I come from a household of yelling, and that's all my mom knew.
Right.
She wasn't abusive, but that's what she knew. But now that I have a son, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to be a parent that talks, that was raised by parents that yell. Yeah, right. And I have to be mindful of that. And I pray, I'm like, God, you gave me this child. I don't own him, but I am the vessel that you
Correct.
trusted to help him become whatever it is that he's supposed to become. And I have to be mindful of that.
Correct.
And because you don't want to leave trauma with your
That's right.
children.
Because you can leave trauma.
You can.
And I know now, but the one thing I do know, I thank God I broke a lot of generational curses.
Amen to that.
So at the end of the
Amen to
day,
that.
from my oldest daughter, she did not have a child because it was a repeat pattern.
Yeah.
Everyone on her father's side. 15, we got pregnant and had them at 16. So it was a repeat cycle. That cycle was broke younger, and
Amen.
I didn't even know it at that particular time. But even now, she's healing because my younger two, they experienced things, but
Yeah.
not as much as my oldest because we pretty much grew up together.
Yeah.
So I knew
The oldest always gets the brunt of it.
From the yelling.
Yeah.
Now she was spoiled.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to give her what I didn't have. But all I knew was yelling. And this and that. And I'm just like,
God, you gotta change.
I gotta change. Just like I was always told, shut up. That was a word when my youngest two never heard it. They can't even use that word. And it's so many things that I changed and started my own tradition. But even for them, there was some trauma that came along from they see me hurt.
Yeah.
But mom stood in that marriage because I'm that person. I'm loyal. I'm a ride and die.
Yeah.
But that
Ride or die type of chick.
Yeah. But at the same time, the ride or die was gonna have me in 60.
It was gonna make you die.
It was gonna make
It
me
wasn't
die.
gonna be no riding. It was gonna be
It
more
was gonna
dying.
and they had to suffer and watch me suffer. That caused and I think about that for the longest. I thought about because my baby girl, when she turned about 14, I noticed a change. She just kind of like went in a shell.
Really?
Wasn't talking. By 15, and she just recently told me, she watched everything I went through. And although I didn't say nothing, I didn't complain, they hurt because I hurt. And sometimes
I was just about to say that when your kids see you hurt, it hurts them.
And there was some things they didn't see behind the scene, but there was a lot they did see.
Yeah.
But the whole point, your kids hurt and you putting them through trauma because they're trying to figure out why.
Yeah.
Why are you putting yourself through that? But yet you talk about God is a God of love, and He don't bring hurt, and nor do He bring confusion. So why are you allowing yourself to go through?
And then they start to think that that's normal.
That's normal.
So they start dating men or women that have that same type of toxic character traits because that's all they saw growing up.
That's
all they know,
and that's all they knew because that was my biggest thing with with me. Period. I remember that just being young, my real father was very abusive to my mother physically.
And you saw that.
I saw that. And I made a vow to myself, no man will ever put their hand on me.
Yeah.
Never. And, it made me become violent because even if you came in my face, my first reaction, I'm going to get you before you get me.
Yeah.
I'm
going to hit you first.
Right. Because it's what I see.
Yeah.
Just as well as the way talking to man, the way my mother talked to my father when he was home, because he was gone all the time. He was a longshoreman, so you might be home 3 months out of the year. When he knew I left, because me and my dad, we had a good relationship. He was the reason she adopted me. She didn't want us, without putting too much out there. She didn't want us, but he said, "You want my brother, which was my baby brother. We got to get him all. We're not going to separate him." So
this was your adopted father.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, my birth father. After my mother died, I never seen him again, and I know I was spoiled rotten. I knew because my mom would send me most of the time to go to him to get the money, whatever we need for food and so forth. I remember that much.
Yeah.
I don't remember everything,
but you remember
God
that.
allowed me to remember certain things. But the one thing I know for a fact, if I wouldn't have went through what I went through, would I be this person today? Absolutely not. Would I be telling the world to stand boldly for God? Absolutely not. Because one, I was spoiled rotten by my biological dad, for real. And even though I was young with my mother, I still don't know how that would have played itself out.
Yeah.
Because one thing I can't say for sure, there was no abuse to me in that family dynamic. So, the most I went through was the trauma of watching my dad hurt my mom.
Yeah.
That was the devastating part for me. So psychologically, it still would have done something. But what I'm saying, the physical and mental that toll, and the sexually, what took me to a whole different level. And I fought through. And I tell people all the time, you don't know what people went through to be who they are today.
At all.
So one, you don't judge. And two, you can't say why they think they're this or why they think. It took me a minute to be confident like I am. It took me a minute to have my self-esteem. People was like, there's no way you was low self-esteem. Yes, I was.
You had to push through it.
I pushed through it because I was told I'll never be nothing.
Who told you that?
My mother.
Wow.
I would never be nothing. I would be nothing good for nothing but to lay on my back. So I've made it a purpose to. I'm one of those people. Whatever you tell me I can't do,
I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. No different from, I was just told, because I don't know if people still go through it today. I'm dark skinned. So in New Orleans, I was looked at and looked down because I'm dark.
I think that's still a thing. The light skin versus dark. That's very much so a thing.
Even in school, but it was harder for me, to hear from my mom. Even for her to tell me, you better not mess with no black man. You better get a white man to lighten up the family. That hurted me so bad.
That trauma that we carry with this light skin, dark skin. I hate it. I hate it.
I've always hated, even in school. You couldn't be the light skinned people friend because you're dark. Or like they became my friend because I was this person. I didn't like bullies. I defend people that was bullies.
I don't either.
By me being a fighter, of course they wanted me in their clique.
Because they know that you knew how to fight. Okay, so Miss Leshawn, I can see that.
So they used me, but at
to
the time
defend
I was
them.
A child, I didn't know no better. I just felt good that I was accepted by the light
and you were in the group. And that is such a big thing. Even like in music videos, you always see they always have light-skinned girls in the video. It's such a big thing. And I think it's a stigma that we'll see for a while.
I think so too.
It will be
It's getting better though.
Yeah, it is getting better. Yeah, it is getting better. But they publicize light skin, good hair. And that's why I think a lot of, like now we see so many girls getting BBLs, redoing everything about themselves. It's like, gosh, everyone's starting to look alike. Same body, same hair, same lipstick, same nails. Because people don't love themselves.
Right. And until you love yourself, that's just like for me, I couldn't accept this beautiful dark-skinned woman now back then.
Yeah.
Because of everything I heard, everything I was told. And I looked in the mirror one day after I said, girl, your black is beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Thank you. I said, and you've been
And you got good skin.
Thank you. And I said, you've been running.
Yeah.
Because of what man told you. But that's not what
God told you. And that's the only thing that matters is what God told you.
But you got to go through that healing to know that.
You do.
Because I think we're programmed and conditioned while we're young. So that's what's embedded in us. So as we become adults, it comes out. What goes in, got to come out.
That's why I'm always so mindful of the seeds that I plant in people. That's why they say you always should speak life into people.
Absolutely.
Because you could say one thing to someone in 7th grade, like, well, I remember Jody said this to me in 7th grade. And they plant that seed and that flower grows and it's a flower of hurt. And they can't grow into this thriving garden. Like even speaking to your kids, I come to notice though, no one is born a parent.
Right.
And each year I'm becoming a different mother to my son than I was at maybe when he was 4 or maybe when he was 9, because we're constantly growing and we're constantly changing. Yeah.
That's right.
How's your dynamic now that you've healed? Like, how would you compare, where you were with parenting then and where you are now? Like the healed version of you as a parent and the hurt version of you as a parent.
The healed version is so understanding, so patient, and loving through whatever. Understanding that they are people just as well as I'm a person.
Yeah.
And I have to be mindful and respectful of who they are as a person and hear them out wholeheartedly. Where the old version of me just was,
a lot of parents do that.
Love them, but still, where now they're comfortable, they can sit down and know mom go hear me out And even if she don't agree with me, she go tell me in a loving manner and still respect
What I say.
what
And
I
who
say
I am.
and who I am.
Yeah.
So that's why I love the new me for so many reasons. Not that I just feel good, this in a new energy, this new vibe of evolving, but the relationship with God Himself. Because now having God within me and dwelling within me and having this wholeheartedly love, I'm able to really exude that to my kids where I'm just so accepting of they own what they want to do,
Yeah.
how they want to do it. Even like my middle child, she wanted to be a doctor since she was a little girl. All of a sudden, once she graduated high school, she did a change and said, well, I don't think I want to be in school, that long. Now, the old me probably wasn't
Would
going
have
to
went on. Yeah.
but the new me being understanding, you want to do something. I'm going to stand by you, but if you're not going to, do college, you got to do a trade. You want something that you can
Fall
build
back on.
off, because at the end of the day, mom not going to be there forever.
Yeah. And you have to create a life for yourself.
Correct. So that's the one thing. I just totally, everything overall, love the new me because it's just different.
Yeah.
It's something about being in peace. Peace is worth everything.
It's priceless. Peace is literally priceless.
You said that's a mouthful. That's real talk right there, because the one thing, even for me, when I had to walk away from my marital house and go back in
I remember you were telling me that.
That was,
and it sounded like that was a beautiful home.
It was. And to go where I'm at and this less square footage and pay just $100 less for rent, what I was paying in mortgage. But the one thing that gives me the joy that I have is the peace.
It's the peace.
I don't have to worry about everything that went on behind closed doors because there was no peace. A home that don't have no peace.
It's not a home.
That's not a home.
That's not a home.
I didn't even want to go home.
That's just a shelter, if that. It's not a home.
That's exactly what it was. It was just a shelter that I had to go. Yes, it was beautiful. Yes, it was nice. But to me, it wasn't.
You hated it.
I hated it. And nobody should hate the home that they work hard to get.
Yeah. And the space that you go to. And that's why I always preach, like, anything that disrupts my peace, I'm out of there.
You gotta be.
If the energy's off, I'm out of there. If my peace is threatened, I'm not doing it. I'm not that, whether it's the job, the relationship, the friendship. And sometimes you might even have to put your parents on ice. Sometimes, like, hey, today I'm not going to talk to you, but tomorrow we'll recap. We'll start over tomorrow, and not acting out of emotions, but just stepping away from the situation, because I have lost my peace before and it was so hard to get back.
It is.
And I'm not willing to lose my peace. I'm not willing to lose my peace.
Now, the one thing I do truly love that God has done, from business relationship, the negative, God removed and brought and new, and it's just working hand in hand.
Everything
new
aligns.
Friendships.
We were just talking about that.
Matter of fact, I got this dental office. One of my companies, insurance company, got me this dental office that she went to introduce me to. Me and the office manager just clicked. When I tell you, it's like
God will align, orchestrate, and ordain everything. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I just sit there and I'll be like,
amazed.
Wow.
Amazed.
Because you like, well, where were these people? But it wasn't time. Everything I'm learning is in God's timing. I tell people time is really illusion. We can look at it how you want. Because everything is God's timing. Not
your
man.
time, yeah. And if you would have got the blessing before you were prepared, you would have lost it.
I would have lost it.
You would have lost
messed
it.
Up.
Yeah, me too.
And God knew that. That's why He waited. Because I'm just like, the matter of fact, when we went to that dentist office, the other dentist office was closed. So we wouldn't even went to this dentist office where I'm talking about. If it wasn't for that one closed, that was God divine.
Everything.
And the lady
aligns.
was right in the front. She said, I usually be in my office because we're so busy. She said, I just was led to sit in the front this particular day, and she told me, come on back, talk. We got to talk. It's like we was long best friends.
And that's why it's just like, that's why it gives you hope to trust God. There's
That's right.
nothing that you need to worry about.
Nothing.
You just need to trust God. Stop trying to drive the car. You're going to crash.
You're going to crash.
Stop, or you're going to get lost trying to have too much control over the car.
And I tell everyone, even I had people, tell me, well, that Bible, you can't go by that Bible because that was man made or something.
Yeah.
I don't want
I used to think that too.
I thought
I used to have crystal, sage, all type of stuff.
Why I went for it, because when you have, like my ex used to drive so much in my head.
Mm-hmm. So
it's
not real.
It's not real. Then the enemy know how to work.
Oh,
I'm gonna just leave it at that. So I was sitting on the fence. So I was lukewarm, like how you said. You guys to be hot or cold.
I was lukewarm. Yep.
So what happened was, once I start really sitting down, healing, getting to know God for myself, because I always had him.
Yeah.
He performed miracles, but not had him.
Yeah. He was on you. He wasn't in you.
Correct.
Yeah.
That makes a difference.
That makes a total difference. Total difference.
Once I really got to know God and really got to see who he really was, I say, yeah, it was man written, but inspired by God. And it's really our basic instruction. And when
on how to live.
On how to live. And when you trust him, he gonna crack the code. Because I tell people, even when Jesus walked this earth, remember he talked in parable. Everybody not gonna get it.
Yeah.
But when it's time for you to get it,
you gonna get it.
You gonna get it and understand.
Every time.
You gotta stop understanding, because your shirt said best. I tell people all the time, we're spiritual beings having an earthly experience.
That's it.
And when we understand that,
life changes.
Life changes.
Life changes, yeah.
And when I woke up and saw that even with nature, I could get out that energy.
Oh my goodness.
My thing.
Yeah.
And nature.
That lets me know God's real. And that's why I'm big on traveling.
And if you notice, like for me, I remember there was a time I didn't see no red birds, blue birds.
No.
I sit there and watch even a squirrel. And I still have the picture. I had to put it on social media. An owl came on my tree one time, last year, matter of fact. And when he looked at me and sat there for a while, even my girls, they was looking, they was amazed. And he was just giving me eye contact. And he sat there for a few minutes, and then he flew off. He came back the next day, but he didn't come no more after that. And I said, thank you, God.
Thank you, God. See, and if you're not present enough, you'll miss those things. You'll miss those things. And those times are when God's speaking. Everyone's like, right. I don't hear God talk. I just want to hear God talk to me. I had a friend say that. I'm like, are you quiet enough for God to talk? Are you still enough for God to talk? No. That's why you can't hear him.
That's why we can't hear him.
Ooh.
Are you always on the go? Just run, because you're running from yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing people have to get, because I didn't understand that I was running from myself. Even for me, when I was out, if I had a bad relationship with somebody, I would leave. It was like she's a runner, she's a track star.
She's a runner, she's a track star.
Just move and
run to a next one.
Move. That's how you get messed up.
Yeah. Can't be alone.
Can't be alone. Yeah. But why can't you be alone? What are you running from?
Your thoughts.
Your thoughts, yourself, and knowing that there's something in you that's saying, sit down and heal.
And you don't want to. You don't want. That's why I think a lot of people smoke. A lot of people drink. A lot of people, even just getting a bunch of tattoos. Like, we all have experienced such hurt, and we're trying to alleviate that pain. Mm-hmm. That's why people do it.
That's right.
And you overindulge, but instead of overindulging into vices, find victory and find God.
I agree.
That's the only way.
With God, you are nothing. You have nothing. No peace. There's nothing.
There's nothing. God is the only way. And now that I read the word, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm understanding it now.
Right.
I'm like, the rules for living are in the word.
In the word.
And now I have to read it every day.
Every day.
I can't start my day without reading it. Like, if I wake up early, I'm like, let me see what God's talking about.
Like, let me just go ahead.
And then I'm like, oh, wow. And then I start getting emotional because I'm like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Well, I know we talked about a lot as far as emotional depression, and this is very important. We hope that you guys heal. But let's talk about insurance, because that's how we met.
Yes.
So how did you get into the insurance industry? And I think this is important because we don't see a lot of people of color in the insurance industry. And I think I've been in the insurance industry for 17 years. So my professional life, my professional career has always been in insurance. How did you get in insurance?
Well, truth of the matter is, I didn't wake up and just said I wanted to do insurance. I wound up meeting somebody one time, started talking about insurance, so I started going to the meetings. So I wound up going to take the test, didn't pass it because I was going to the meetings, come to find that out. Well, long story short, my mother actually said, Sean, you like helping people. Remember the time we didn't believe in you and you still had the successful daycare? I said, yes. She said, won't you go do it one more time because the insurance company took advantage of me. Well, I didn't blame the insurance company. I blame the agent.
Mm-hmm.
Because the agent should have took time out to educate, make sure she was good. She got bamboozled on both sides. On the life, she had a $10,000 life policy, paying $368 a month. She had more money in her savings account than she had in that policy, and it go up every year. Then the biggest thing was the health insurance side. She had a stroke in August because what happened was two doctors. She should have never been on a PPO plan. She should have been on HMO, but without going into the language of insurance, she didn't have the proper education to know what needed to be done. Because I remember my mom vividly would say, Sean, you're not a doctor because I'm asking her what medicine she's taking. Me and my sister that passed in 2015, we would always question her. She would tell us we ain't go to school to be a doctor, so she go trust the doctor. Those two doctors both gave her blood thinners. So I went and took the test August 10th because I wound up taking 80 banker class one day, and he schooled me. Don't go back to the meetings. Just focus on this test. Then take the test, then go back. And that's what I did. So the 10th, I passed it. We would talk every Tuesday because she was still healing from another stroke. Well, that Sunday I woke up and I said, oh my God. Mom didn't know I passed the test because I didn't get the call because they called me. She had a stroke, irreversible stroke in the church. She was bleeding profusely. It's like water just coming out. Well, God revealed to me, she knew I used her as the vessel because that was the only way I was going back and take that test one more time. So for me, I left a legacy in her honor because it was too late for me to help my mother, but I'm able to help somebody else's mother, grandmother, uncle, cousin. So what I do now, I get out there, educate, because I'm big on education.
Yeah.
You know, you got to educate because our community don't know, the last to know everything. Yeah. And the word tell us we perish because of lack of knowledge. So I get out there and make sure people understand, make sure people on the plans that's best for them, but make sure they understand because what's good is doing them, putting them on the plan, they don't understand.
And they don't understand it exactly, and then they can't really utilize all their benefits because they don't even know what they have.
Correct.
So do you primarily only focus on health?
No, I do health, Medicare, life, retirement planning.
You do it all.
I do all, cancer policy, critical, chronic, anything you name on the life and health side, I do it all. I just have to master one first, then come back and add another to my bucket.
Why do you think it's important for more people, especially people of color, to get in the insurance industry?
Because one, our people need it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I can't help everybody. There's more than me that have a servant heart, that believe in serving the people. Because I tell people all the time, you can't chase the dollar.
You can't.
You got to be there for the people. Because the one thing I've learned, I can't outbeat God and giving. But at the same time, when you have 10,000 people every day turning 65, one agent,
it's not enough.
It's not enough.
There's room for everybody.
There's room for everybody. And you got call centers that's doing more harm to our people than anything. So we need people to
genuine
come
people
in that has a heart to say, let me step up, put my boots on, and get out here in the trenches.
And serve.
Yeah. Serve the people.
I always say you got to put, no matter where you work, whether it's Burger King, whether it's insurance, doctor, lawyer, you always have to put your purpose into your profession. You might not be where you want to be, but God has you in that space. And like I said on my last episode, like, can God trust you with the little bit that you have now while you're praying for more? Until you get the more, be a good steward over what you have now. But always put that purpose back into your profession.
Amen.
So are you looking for more agents?
I'm definitely looking
building
for
your downline.
Oh my God, yes. I'm definitely looking for more agents, even if you're not licensed, trust me, I can help you get licensed because at the end of the day, I believe in mentoring because
It's important.
I get there with you, teach you, show you, but more important, have you go out in the field with me if that's something you want to do to see how it's done. Because at the end of the day, I tell people, you having somebody just telling you to do it, but somebody there mentoring you,
it's different.
It's different. Because I do a Sunday call every Sunday unless I'm going out of town or I just need to take a day off and refuel. I won't do that Sunday. Yeah. But that's why my agents love and like me and been with me. I have 2 that's been with me since 2017. They were the reason I started my agency because I was always a runner, and was a top producer by myself. But I decided, no, let me not be selfish.
Let me show someone else.
Let me show someone else because in my mind, I was like, oh, that's going to be too much to try to get others to do what I'm doing because I'm just one that learned the skill of running because Les Brown is one of my favorites.
Oh, I love Les Brown.
You got to be hungry.
He's so positive.
He is. Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, all of them brought me to this point where my mindset, because the mindset have to change. I had to detox my mindset of how I thought. Yeah. Being positive, you have to stay there. And the one thing when you're not positive, how you revert back. Think of one thing you're grateful for.
Yeah.
And it'll
shift your perspective.
Bring you back to that positive mindset. So yes, if anyone's out there looking or even want to take a chance in the insurance world, see what it's like, you definitely reach out to me because I would love, because I need the help, y'all.
Yes.
I definitely do.
And I will, of course, put all of her information in the description of the podcast, and we could guide you along the journey. But I think it's so important for people to learn the insurance industry because it's residual income.
Yes.
And I don't even consider it selling. You're serving people. There are so many people right now that are losing their Medicaid coverage now that Medicaid is unwinding with Obamacare. Some people don't even know that they'll be eligible to get on another policy and probably pay $0 based on their income. So it's like you should not have to go without health insurance, dental, vision. There's people like Miss Leshawn that could help you find good quality coverage. And if you're interested in getting health insurance, you might have seen other people talk about it. This is the perfect opportunity to join the business. So I will put her information in the description. So as we wrap up, what are you currently working on that we can expect? How do we find you?
What I'm currently working on that's really huge, one of my insurance companies that I'm working with, actually, I had a meeting with 25 pastors last week, me and another colleague, and really working on helping the community all over the state of Georgia. And it went well with them. That is leading to other pastors. So I'm just looking at just expanding the market and sharing the knowledge.
Sharing the knowledge. That's the most important.
With the community on insurance, the importance of insurance, why having it, and how it help you, and what's best for you based on your needs. Because that's why I'm independent, because one company is not a good fit for all.
Exactly. And when you're captive, you could only sell that one product.
Right. So,
but when you're a broker, you could sell a bunch of different carriers. And I think that's important too.
Yes,
let people know all of their options.
Absolutely correct. Because I learned the skill of listening. So when you listen, by soon the person says different thing. Oh, this company, because I learn every product and what their benefits, how it can help my client. So based on their needs, I know which company to pull out my pocket to help them.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up, I'm going to ask you questions and you just finish it. Quick sentences and you finish it.
Okay.
So the first one is, I am
beautiful.
I love
myself.
I will
continue to inspire and shine light in this world.
Amen. I can
do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
I know that's right. And God is
my everything, my all in all.
Mine too. Thank you so much for that. I enjoyed that. And I just appreciate your vulnerability because I know a lot of people are going to watch this, listen to this, and find that valuable. And again, I will put all of her information in the podcast description. Be sure to follow her on TikTok. What's your TikTok, Leshawn
At
Fernandez?
Leshawn Fernandez, LESHAWNFERNANDEZ.
Yes. So if you enjoyed this episode, you want to keep up with her, you want that positive inspiration on a daily basis, follow her on TikTok. But guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that. The Heart Helper, all we're about is love, light, positivity, and inspiration. And if you are going through something, you're not alone. You are not alone. Don't give up. Just surrender your life to God and keep going. Everything is going to work out perfectly for you. So this was our first episode of season 2. So we are on episode 21, season 2, good vibes. But guys, just many blessings. I love you all. Keep God first and all will be well. Until next time, this is the Heart Helper Podcast. See you guys soon.